Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is my review for the series premiere of The Leftovers, and I was really looking forward to this show. This was one of my, if you guys don't know, this was one of the most highly anticipated shows of the summer season. I could not wait for this show to premiere. I literally could not wait for it. When that first trailer came out, that sold me right away, and ever since then, I've been hyping up this show, and I've really been looking forward to it, and I've really been looking forward to it, because I just thought it looked like an amazing show. One, HBO is my second favorite network. I've talked about this before. HBO is my second favorite network. I love all their shows I've seen on it so far. FX being my favorite, but HBO is my second favorite network, and I was really looking forward to this show, and I thought it was going to be an amazing show, because the promos made it look like an amazing show. And how was this show? This show is amazing. It really is. It's probably my second favorite HBO show. Even though I've seen about 3 shows, I've seen about 5 minutes of Boardwalk Empire. I will watch that show eventually, but, basically, I'd say it's probably my second favorite show. Is it as good as Game of Thrones? No. Is it better than True Blood? Yes, it's better than True Blood in my opinion. I feel like it has better characters, it has a really good story, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen, what else is going to happen with this show, but I absolutely love this episode, and I just thought it was fantastic. So basically, the beginning of the episode, let's just get to it. We see this mom in Mapletown, New York. She's having a very bad day at the laundromat, and her baby won't stop crying. It's just like the preview we saw. The machine won't take her crumble bill, and the service person on the phone isn't being particularly helpful either. And while on another call a short while later, the stressed man puts the crying infant in the back seat of her car, next to a partially rolled down window. The baby then looks up and seems to see something, but keeps crying. And a moment later, while reaching down to grab an item from the passenger seat note, the mother notices her son has stopped crying, and she's prompting her to turn around, and the car seat is actually empty. So, where's her son? I don't know. And then we see another boy yelling for his father nearby a shopping cart, and he's saying, "Where's my dad?" And the mom from the laundromat can't spare a moment to help her baby is missing, and she's like, "Where are you, Sam?" She screams. And then we hear 911 recordings revealing that Sam and the boy's dad aren't the only ones gone. 2 million% of the world's population have disappeared. So that's really big. So then 3 years later, meaning present time, October 13th, we meet our main character, Kevin. Yeah, Kevin. Not me, Kevin. A different Kevin. He's jogging down the street in gray sweatpants with his sleeves trimmed to his biceps, and Kevin, who's played by Justin Theroux, runs past with blue ribbons tied around their trunks, and he spots a dirty dog in the path, and Kevin crouches down, calls over to it, and he's just like, "I'm not gonna hurt you," he says, and a bullet whizzes by, startling Kevin and killing the dog, and Kevin turns around, seeing a man with a large wad of chewing tobacco in his mouth, and he climbs back into an unmarked car and drives off. Then we meet the character of Laurie, who, Laurie's a number of people who are all dressed in white, who are sleeping on the floor, and the snoring of someone nearby wakes Laurie, and wakes Laurie up, and so she lights a smoke. She lights a cigarette. So then we meet his daughter, Jill, who is a guidance counselor on the loudspeaker, who is offering her team's services to anyone who needs to talk it out now. Then the Denziger Commission has presented their findings about that fateful October 14th. Students don't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, but some get on their knees for the optional prayer for mercy, forgiveness, and the return of those who left us. I thought that was interesting, that, it's affected students standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I just thought that was kind of interesting. So a cool boy in school, Nick, looks over at Jill and mimes killing himself with a gun, and Jill smiles and mimes hanging herself in response. Nick turns away unimpressed. So yeah, that didn't work out for her. So then Tom is sitting in a van. We meet this character, Tom. He's sitting in a van on the side of a highway, and he's listening to some Patsy Cline when Congressman Whitten climbs inside his vehicle, and the politician hands over his cell phone and a large wad of cash, and Tom hands Whitten a blindfold, and they drive off. So Kevin had to take a shower, and he's in a towel watching on TV, and the hearings on the Denziger Commission's finding as senators grilling the scientific group for coming up with no answers as to why 140 million people across the world disappeared 3 years ago, because no one knows why this happened. It just happened. Nobody knows why it happened, though. So Laurie is brushing her teeth in a mirrorless bathroom, and Laurie starts at lettering on the wall that reads, "We are living reminders." And she finishes and heads to the kitchen for some grub, walking past another sign that says, "We don't smoke for enjoyment, we smoke to proclaim our faith." Back in the main room, a man actually hands up a clipboard, revealing who from this white-clad wearing group will attend an event called Heroes Day, which is this huge event that everyone's looking forward to, and Laurie's name is not on the list. So she takes up a supervisor-type Patty, and she says, "Why aren't I on the list?" She writes on paper. And Patty tells her, also writing by notepad, that she can go. So Kevin gets out of his vehicle in front of a resident, and he's decked out in a Mapletown Police Department uniform, and he says, I'm Chief Kevin Garvey, he tells a woman who opens the door. And she says, "Garvey, I thought you were crazy." And he says, "That was my dad." Moving quickly on him, Kevin lets the woman know he found her dog, Dudley, who is now dead, as we know there was that dog that he found. And she is unfazed. The dog ran away 3 years ago and never came back. He was my husband's. He's not coming back either. And walking back to her car, Kevin tosses the dog collar in the trunk atop Dudley's remains. And speaking to an officer named Dennis over the phone, Kevin learns he's late for a meeting with the mayor. So, on the drive, Tom the congressman makes small talk. The politician asks the young man why he's not at college. And a flashback actually reveals that Tom saw 2 students commit suicide by jumping off a building. But Tom doesn't tell that story. Changing the subject, Tom says Witten will feel unburdened after he meets someone named Wayne. So that's interesting. So Kevin walks in as Mayor Lacey Warburton is discussing the plans for the October 14th Heroes Day Parade, and a man questions the use of the word heroes. They're heroes because no one's going to come parade on. And the mayor says, "We don't know what the fuck happened. We're all gonna have a nice walk through town, have a good cry, and then move on. It's time everybody reads to feel better." And she adds, "Not the remnant." Kevin points out he thinks this group, they're going to disrupt the parade, and they're going to come tomorrow, and when they do, somebody's going to get hurt. So, that was really, interesting there. So, Jill then sees 2 folks in white, and they're members of the GR, and they're watching as Jill elbows a teammate during field hockey, and she hits her literally with their elbow, and her nose starts bleeding, and the coach tries to go soft on Jill. She knows it has been hard since her mom went away, but Jill can't act like that. Jill promises to be good, and as long as that cult stays away from me. So, reaching their destination, so yeah, that was definitely interesting. I think she's a very interesting character. So, reaching their destination, Tom hands off Witten's phone to check to a point guard, and brings up to the main house where a woman leads Witten to Wayne, and Tom heads to the pool to give a sunbathing bikini. We meet this girl, Christine, who is some gummy worms, and he gives her some gummy worms and has a 2-talk. Tom ignores a call, then comes up on his phone from his dad, Kevin, who is also his dad, apparently. So, I like how everyone's connected, really. I really like that about the show right away, how everyone's connected. So, then we see Laurie, and the GR pass around folders containing intel on the residents in Mapletown, who they have been watching, and Laurie spots a photo of a pretty young woman, who later will learn is named Meg, and that's Liv Tyler's character. Then we find out with Jill, one more problem, and the school is going to call her dad, and Jill tells her friend Amy, as they sit outside smoking a joint, Amy suggests they relax by partying later that night at the home of a kid named Dorfman. And here's the really big part. They're giving another option. And we see Scott, who's played by Charlie Carver, and also Adam. Now, Charlie Carver and Max Carver, as we know, were on Teen Wolf, and they left Teen Wolf. This is why they left Teen Wolf, because they were chosen to be in the show. And that's really cool, actually. I'm glad that they're still working together. I thought it was just going to be one of them, but I'm glad they're still working together, because they're very good actors. Scott pulls up in a Prius with his twin Adam, but the girls decline the boys' ping pong and pot invitation. And after meatloaf dinner with her dad, Kevin and Amy head to the girls' party in Kevin's car. So Laurie and a fellow GR member stand outside Meg's house observing as Meg and her fiancé get into a car and drive to dinner. They show up to watch at the restaurant too, unnerving the couple who are arguing after their impending wedding. Once more after dinner, the GR women watch Meg and her fiancé as they arrive, and a furious Meg storms over, slaps Laurie hard, and she's just like, go away, and that's like in the promo we saw, so that's really interesting. So then we see Jill, and she's at the party with Amy, and Amy and Jill are playing an iPhone app version of Spin the Bottle, and it is the craziest Spin the Bottle I've ever seen. I mean, there's some crazy options there. There's one suggesting people just, have sex. There's one that literally a guy had to burn himself. Oh my god, that was so hard to watch. I could never do half those options. And Jill gets the option to, it lands on Nick and Amy, who says she won't go, and she knows that Jill has a crush. Jill says it's fine. And later, after losing, and she actually is given the option to choke this guy, which was interesting. So, after losing interest on the party, because I would have left that party. That party's too crazy, and I've never seen a crazier party. She then runs into the twins, Scott and Adam, who are trying to find their car keys in the dark. And Jill says, I think my dad might have left some flares. And she opens up her dad's trunk, and of course, there's the dog's remains there, and they decide to bury Dudley. While they dig a grave, Scott shares some thoughts on a pack of stray dogs he's heard about that live in the woods. And he says they see something like that, and they just snap. They just go primal, man. Same thing's gonna happen to us. It's just gonna take longer. And that's true. I mean, what he's trying to say there is that they're not crazy yet, but eventually they're going to go crazy, which is kind of true. So Tom is fast asleep when Wayne comes in for a chat, and he says, we need to talk about Christine. And he says she's very important. I need you to protect her. And Wayne adds, telling Tom to keep her close, keep her safe, and keep your fucking hands off her. And before he goes, Wayne tells Tom he's been dreaming about his son who's disappeared, and who his son told him in the dream that the time has come for something. And he says, and here's where he says the line, grace period's over, Tom, time to go to work. And then it turns out that it's October 14th, which is 1 year after everyone disappeared. Of course, on October 14th is when everyone disappeared. And Kevin has this weird dream involving a deer. We don't know what it's about, but Kevin then wakes up to the sound of his phone, and he's late for the Heroes Day Parade. He gets ready, heads downstairs, shocked by the state of his kitchen, which looks to have been destroyed by an actual deer, with his car gone because Jill didn't come home last night. Kevin has to walk to the parade, arriving just in time to butt heads with the mayor. And the parade kicks off without a hitch. There's bands, a bagpiper, people holding signs of remembrance for their loved ones, and the mayor wavering from her seat on the back of a convertible. And there's one angry man preaching the festivities, Matt, who is handing out leaflets claiming that the fateful October 14th was no rapture. And eventually the speeches begin. And here's where the episode just gets really crazy, because a statue is unveiled, and children read the names of those who disappeared. And guest speaker, Nora Durst, who lost her husband, son, and daughter on October 14th, takes the podium. And the crowd quiets to hear her happy memory about a nice day the family had at the beach, and another one where they all were sick at home. And as she continues, the GR descends on the ceremony from the hillside. They stop and hold up signs reading, "Stop wasting your breath," and that's really big. And the event then it goes crazy after that, because it takes a very dark turn as the parade growers drop their own memorial signs, quickly start attacking the GR members, who they do nothing to defend themselves. And Kevin and his men try to pull back the crowd, holding the line. He's like, hold the line. And when the officers get between the two groups, and it's just really, really intense shit going down there. So Kevin's in at a bar later that night, and Kevin knocks back a beer while glancing at the TV news, which is showing the faces of the celebrities who disappeared during the sudden departure 3 years ago. And Salman Rushdie, and these are some of the celebrities that disappeared. And I don't know why they picked specifically these celebrities, they just decided to pick them. Salman Rushdie, Condoleezza Rice, Shaquille O'Neal, Jennifer Lopez, Anthony Bourdain, Gary Busey. And then we see Bonnie Raitt, who is the woman from Bonnie Raitt. And then we see the woman from the laundromat at the start of the episode, who asked Kevin where he was when it happened, because everyone always remembers where they were when it happened. And he lies and says he was cleaning out a gutter, which is not true. He was actually having sex with a woman we don't know about. He lied about it. And as the two begin to chat, Kevin spots a man with a lump of chewing tobacco in his lower lip, who plops a bottle down on the counter, exits the bar. Kevin runs after him, and after the man drives off in his truck, leaving Kevin to scream, "You cannot kill our fucking dogs." And that was just really big there. So Kevin looks around outside the bar. He spots two GR men, and it sets him off even more. Jumps into his car, drives to a GR house, knocks on the door, and he says, "I'm looking for someone named Laurie, if you can tell me what house she's in." And this was a really great twist. I really love that. He asks, and the man points, and Kevin heads to the next home over, punching and knocking down a guy on the lawn, trying to deter him from getting to Laurie. And it turns out that Laurie is actually his wife. Laurie is his wife, and she basically has gone into hiding. That's what's happened to her. And, Kevin asks, "You okay?" And she has come outside, and, Patty writes, "You are not welcome here," which she shows to Kevin. He says, "I'm trying to talk to my wife." And he says to Laurie, "Please come home." And a large man then hits Kevin and drags him back to his car. He looks up at Laurie, who doesn't move, shakes his head, drives away, passing a taxi that pulls in the GR driveway containing Meg. So yeah, that's definitely very, very big. I'm really looking forward to seeing, where that exactly is going to go. But I think it's a very good twist that Laurie's actually his wife. I did not see that one coming. I thought there was definitely a very good twist, and I did not see it coming. So a large man then hits Kevin and drags him back to his car. He looks up at Laurie, who doesn't move, shakes his head, and drives away, passing a taxi that pulls into a GR driveway containing Meg. And Meg then tells her, I was wondering if I could stay here maybe for just a couple of nights. And Patty finally speaks to her, introducing her to Laurie, who will take care of her. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. So Kevin is then driving home, and Kevin tries to reach his son Tom, who is unable to take his call. And a second later, Kevin spots the deer, slams on his brakes, gets out of his car, and approaching it cautiously, he asks the animal, "Were you in my house last night?" And silence is quickly broken by a pack of stray dogs, who appear out of nowhere to attack and tear the deer apart. That was just like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, that was creepy. And not far behind the dogs is the man in the truck, and and Kevin says, "They're not dogs, not anymore." And Kevin asks, "Am I awake?" And he says, "You are now, Chief." And he tells Kevin he should get his gun, and the two men just start shooting the vicious pack. So, I don't know what that's about, but this premiere was amazing. I absolutely love this premiere. I thought this was an amazing first episode. It was really awesome. I really love the way they showed everyone. I really like the way they show everyone the show. I thought they did a great job with doing that. By the way, I forgot to say, The Leftovers is based off of a book that I've not read yet, but I might read it at some point. I don't know. But it's based off of one book, so obviously they're going to change a whole bunch of things for the book. But I really, really do love this show. I think it's a fantastic show, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where this show is going to go. I think it's really, really awesome. Let's get to the acting in this show. The acting in the show is just, wow. I really love that everyone's really connected in this show. I really like that. Justin Theroux as Kevin is spot on. He is amazing in the show. He's really, really great. He just gave a really good performance. He definitely is a very good character. It's definitely going to be a very interesting character to see how he's going to be in the show. I think it's a very interesting character, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of his acting. Now, Amy Brenneman as Laurie. We'll have to see what's going to happen with Laurie. As we know, she has left her entire life behind to join a mysterious cult. We don't know what that's about exactly. She's joined this cult and everything. That's really all we know. Is that she's joined this weird cult, and we're gonna have to see what happens with her character. But her character is definitely going to be very interesting on the show, I think. I think her character is probably going to be one of the most interesting characters on this show, because we don't know why she joined this cult. She just decided to. And then Carrie Coon. Then you have Carrie Coon as Nora, who is a wife and mother, who is suddenly neither. Because as we know, both her husband and son disappeared. So it's gonna be interesting to see where her character goes. Christopher Eccleston as Matt. Very interesting character as well. I think probably one of my favorites, though, is definitely Margot Qualley as Jill. One, she's hot. Two, she's a very interesting character, because she's very troubled. She's very troubled, and apparently she was an A student. They said that in the episode. They said she's usually an A student, and it was interesting to see how everyone would react to the situation. I think it's really cool to see the different reactions to this situation. The one character that I don't really see the point of is Liv Tyler. I like her character, but I just didn't really see the point of her character right now. Max Carver and Charlie Carver, very, very good in this show. I actually think they're better characters than they were in Teen Wolf. I love their characters in Teen Wolf. I just feel like they were pointless in that show after a point, and in this show they're not pointless. I definitely do enjoy their characters more in this show, and I just like their characters a lot. So Chris Zilka as Tom, he's a very interesting character as well. I'm going to be interested to see what happens with his character. And then Amy, who of course is oh god, what's her... Jill's best friend. So yeah, I really enjoyed this premiere. I thought it was really awesome, but there's a couple questions we need to get answered. Why is this happening? Like, who did this? Is it aliens? Is it the devil? Is it God? Is it the rapture? Like, what is this all about? We really don't know what's going to happen here, and I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen on this show. Very, very awesome stuff. Very awesome stuff in this show. Why did Laurie join this cult? Why does she not want to be with Kevin anymore? Is Kevin going to be able to convince her to get out of this cult? Because as we know, Laurie is Kevin's wife, obviously. So is he going to be able to convince her to get out of the cult? We'll have to see what happens there. Jill. What's going to happen with Jill? Why is she so... What's going to happen with Jill? We know that she's she's obviously very affected by losing her mother, because her mother chose to leave them. Her mother gave up her whole life to leave them, and Jill's kind of upset by that. So what's going to happen with Jill? I really hope Jill does turn her life around. We're going to have to see what happens there. It seems like Jill's actually not going to be rebellious now, because she left that party. So she's probably going to stay with Amy and Scott and Adam. You know, she's going to stay with them, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Tom, we'll have to see what happens with Tom. As we know, he dropped out of college, and he witnessed that guy's suicide. Is he going to tell somebody about the suicide? We'll have to see what happens there. I like that some people are kind of lying. Like, is Kevin going to tell the truth of where he really was? What's up with that weird dog thing? Like, how are they not human? I don't understand that. That does not make sense to me. And why were these people specifically left? Like, why were all the others taken and they were leftovers? Why were they left? What's going on there? I don't understand why they were left there. It doesn't really make sense to me as to why they were left there. Of course, the other thing I'm wondering about is, like, what is this point? What is this cult gonna do? What's gonna happen there? We'll have to see. But overall, I love this premiere. Probably my second favorite show on HBO. I'm really looking forward to this show. I will say this show is definitely not for everyone. If you are not a fan of depressing shows, do not watch this show. This show is one of the most depressing shows you could watch. It's a really great show, but it's very depressing. But if you can handle it, very good acting, and I really, really love this show. Fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to the next episode of this show. Okay, so that's in my review of the premiere of The Leftovers. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for another classic movie review. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.